Hi, my name is Charles Ponzi. Before I share my story, please read this disclaimer. With that aside, let's continue. As I said before, my name is Charles Ponzi, as it has been immortalized in the annals of financial history. But before we embark on this journey through time, a word of caution. The story I'm about to tell you is fraught with ambitions, illusions, deceptions, and eventual ruin. It serves as a stark reminder of the perils that lie on the path of unchecked desire and unbridled greed. Now let us proceed. As I mentioned, you know me as Charles Ponzi, but my birth certificate reads Carlo Pietro Giovanni Guglielmo Tebaldo Ponzi. With a command over Italian, French, and English, I was not merely an ordinary immigrant. I was a man of ambitions, dreams, and an uncanny ability to sway people with my eloquence. And I am about to share with you my audacious journey, a saga that once stirred the very foundations of America's financial world, albeit briefly. Born into a family of modest means in Lugo, Italy in the year 1882, my early years were quite nondescript. The affluence that my family once enjoyed had faded, replaced by a life of struggle and perseverance. However, my aspirations soared high above the simple, provincial life of my hometown. I dreamt of a future draped in gold, a dream that led me to embark on a voyage to America in 1903, with naught but a few dollars and a heart filled with hope. The city of Boston was my first taste of the American dream. It soon dawned upon me that this dream was not served on a platter. It had to be pursued relentlessly, tirelessly. The streets were not paved with gold as I had fantasized. Instead, they were avenues of opportunities, where survival was a game played with hard work and ingenuity. Amid the wrestle with odd jobs, I found solace in the companionship of my dear Rose. I met Rose Gnecco while waiting tables at a local restaurant, and we got married in 1918. Her presence was a beacon of hope in my tumultuous life. Rose stood by my side through the highs and the lows, her faith in me unwavering. It was in 1919 that the winds of fortune began to change their course. An inefficiency in the international reply coupon system, a creation of the Universal Postal Union, caught my attention. The concept was seemingly straightforward. Buy these coupons where they cost less, exchange them where they hold a higher value. I plunged into this arbitrage opportunity with an initial intention of legitimacy. However, as I ventured deeper, I deviated from the path of honest enterprise. Thus, the Securities Exchange Company was born, with a promise that was as alluring as it was unbelievable: a 50% return on investment in a mere 45 days. The venture catapulted me into a world of affluence and recognition. I was living the American dream that I had yearned for, a grand mansion, the finest cars, and my name emblazoned across every major newspaper. I had finally arrived, but behind the dazzling facade, my empire was but a house of cards. It teetered on the brink of collapse. My scheme began to uncoil when the Boston Post launched a series of investigative articles that started eroding the trust I had built. The date was August 12, 1920. The facade crumbled, my empire collapsed, and I was shackled and arrested. Later that year, I was sentenced to federal prison for mail fraud. Upon my release, the state of Massachusetts weighed down on me with more charges. In total, I spent 14 long years within the cold confines of prison walls. The deportation order in 1934 signaled the end of my American dream, which had morphed into a nightmare. My story, however, didn't end there. Upon my return to Italy, I found employment with the budding Italia Airlines. I stayed on until the onset of World War II, after which I sought refuge in Brazil. Life in Brazil was a far cry from the glitz and glamour I had once known. Plagued by poverty and blinded by an illness, I spent my twilight years in obscurity, eventually succumbing to my fate in a charity hospital in Rio de Janeiro in 1949. So this is the tale of Charles Ponzi, a roller coaster ride from rags to riches and back to rags. My story is a stern reminder that shortcuts often lead to dead ends. The lure of easy money is a siren's call that can lead even the most intrepid sailor onto the jagged rocks of ruin. My name, Charles Ponzi, is now a symbol of one of history's most notorious financial shipwrecks. And so, dear listener, that's my story, a Charles Ponzi story. I'd like to express my heartfelt gratitude for your time and patience. I hope my life's journey provides you with insights and lessons. Remember, it's the truth that lasts and endures, not the illusion of quick riches. Thank you for allowing me to share my tale, my side of the story, however flawed and filled with mistakes it may be. Each story told, each lesson learned makes us wiser, and perhaps in sharing this I've helped someone make better choices. Grazie for listening.